Apple has been doing some weird re-releasing of iPhones in 2019 that could just be them trying to get rid of surplus, but you guys know what I like to do on this channel. I like to talk about the conceptual and the what-ifs of the Apple world. And honestly, this one is kind of encouraging because what if Apple is just kind of experimenting in the realm of bringing back 4-inch iPhones? Nothing fancy. There's people out there that want to imagine Face ID and notches, OLED displays, gesture controls, but I'm talking about more for making a phone for minimalists and people who don't want to spend a ton of money on them, and perhaps a great entry point for the market over in India, who Apple does not have a great share of the smartphone market over there, but perhaps this could help change that. So today we're going to be talking about the potential of the iPhone SE coming back due to recent events that Apple has been doing, special clearance sales over on the Apple Store. Let's begin. So simply, here's what happened. 5 days ago, Apple bizarrely, and this is a very rare instance for Apple, I have not seen it done in recent memory, I can't recall anything like this happening, but they brought back the iPhone SE. In case you didn't know, when the new iPhones came out last year, they discontinued the iPhone SE and the iPhone 6S at around the same time, making the iPhone 7 the cheapest new iPhone you can still buy from Apple today. But then, last week, Apple brought it back and started selling them for a very, very discounted price, considering they're not refurbished, they're not used. Okay, these are brand new iPhones. Granted, they are fairly old iPhones. They still have the headphone jack, they don't have camera bumps, and of course they rock that design from the iPhone 5, but they were still selling them brand new. 32 gig and 128 gig models. They have the A9 chip in them, and they started at $250. Again, that's straight from Apple, brand new, which I thought was kind of bizarre. You had to go to the clearance section part of their website. It was definitely not under the iPhone section or anywhere near the front page like, hey everyone, remember the SE? We're officially bringing it back. Clearance part of the website is kind of hard to get to, and most people don't even know about it because most of the time there's just old tech there that isn't really sold anymore, but they have it in stock. So this made the news, obviously. A lot of people were like, hey, you can get an SE for $250. Brand new, straight from Apple. That's kind of cool. It's still a pretty decent phone. A lot of people ended up buying it, and surprisingly, again, we don't know how much surplus they had, but within 1 day of Apple bringing back the SE to the Apple Store, they were sold out. There were a lot of Instagram posts and a lot of news articles that were dated very, very quickly because they were like, Apple brought back the SE in 2019 for $250. You can buy one right now, and everyone, I guess, did, and they were sold out within a single day. And I was kind of like, whoa, that's a definite flash sale. That happened very quickly, and now it's gone again. So I guess Apple had a certain amount of stock of them that they hadn't sold yet and decided, we could just give these to other companies or sell them directly to businesses, but you know what? Let's start selling them to customers again. And I thought that was going to be the end of it. It was kind of a weird thing, but I didn't think it was that bizarre that I needed to make a video about it or start hypothesizing that Apple could be working on a refresh, and perhaps bringing back the SE to the clearance sale was Apple's way of seeing if there's still an interest in 4-inch iPhones. It's like, okay, they've been gone from their site for a while. What if we start bringing them back? Will people have that much interest? And they did sell out, and again, I didn't think anything of it until today, where Apple actually brought it back again. And now the SE is back on the clearance market of Apple's website, and they are selling them for the same price as before. Again, kind of experimenting with this market again. Apple's not doing anything major. You know, they didn't reinvent the product or anything. They're not manufacturing a new version, but they're putting them up for sale on their site. Even when they sell out, they'll bring them back in stock, which is bizarre to me. And of course, there's a lot of different theories about that. For one, we know that Apple cannot be producing brand new iPhone SEs from a factory. The iPhones they're selling are definitely surplus because as of now, the Apple A9 chip is no longer in production. There's no company still producing that. So they may have a lot of iPhone SEs left over that just perhaps never sold. And some people have theorized that what we're seeing is a lot of iPhone SEs that are coming out of the factories in India because Apple's trying to push more smartphone development over there. In fact, Apple's been known for reviving and bringing back much older iPhones for different markets, precisely phones like the iPhone 6 or perhaps now the iPhone SE. If they start building them in India, they won't have that really, really high import tariff that currently right now makes the current iPhones in India near impossible to sell because they're insanely expensive given they are not manufactured in India. So perhaps Apple is starting to experiment with their older models and their more budget options over there. That way they can get the prices lower, and maybe this manufacturing plant has a few surplus phones or want to start selling them to multiple markets just so Apple can say, hey, this is a factory that's more than just for India. You know, it's providing iPhones for people people all over the world, and that includes India. That's a bit of a stretch because we don't have too much evidence to support that, but it's definitely one possibility, and as we move more into the conceptual what-if side of this video, I think it would be really good if Apple saw the interest people have in the SE. Perhaps there's people out there that just desperately want a 4-inch iPhone refresh, so they're just buying up as many SEs as they can. That way Apple will see, a lot of people like this 4-inch iPhone thing. Maybe we should keep going with that. Perhaps that's what's happening, but if they are selling out this quickly and Apple's interested in bringing them back in stock, hopefully in the early half of 2019 we can see Apple start to realize, hey, iPhone sales are not great right now. Everything's kind of going down. They're in a trade dispute with China and sales revenue is not as high as it used to be. Perhaps now is not a good time to pick favorites and just say, no, we want to make phones just for the people who like OLED displays and Face ID and gestures, and perhaps they shouldn't so quickly shy away from the phone market of people that are minimalists or don't need anything too fancy. They're fine with the small phones of the world, and perhaps that can be a great foot in the door for them if they want to start mass producing phones and actually be a significant chunk of the smartphone market over in India, because right now they are not. There's barely anyone using iPhones over there, and they are being slaughtered by the competition. Perhaps reviving the SE, maybe doing something small with the design of it, like for instance upping the CPU to an A10 chip, I think could be a really easy way for allowing it to have longevity while still being able to keep the price down. Or of course there's those old concepts we have from last year when there was a lot of hype surrounding the iPhone SE2. We could get glass backs and wireless charging, perhaps some water resistance. Maybe remove the headphone jack, though I think that if you were to make an iPhone specifically for India, for countries that have lower income, it probably wouldn't be a great idea to push $160 AirPods on them. So maybe for them, keep around the headphone jack so they can use their older headphones, given in this market, Apple is severely missing out because most of the phones over there are around $200, and the fact that Apple's trying to sell phones in the $1,000 price range does not bode well for the sales of their products over there. So perhaps a little bit of a change in pace, a change in product would be a good idea for them, just to make their shareholders happy and also for them to allow a larger demographic to experience iOS and the benefits of the ecosystem. Maybe right now, the amount of money they make per sale of iPhone is not what they should be focusing on, and more just getting as many services possible in the hands of people in different demographics where they may not be selling as well. So again, that is definitely a big stretch from just them bringing back the iPhone SE. But if you didn't know about it, and hey, maybe you were interested in the SE, or maybe there's people out there that are hoping for the iPod Touch to make a comeback, get this thing, because it's $250 for 32 gigs. You get Touch ID, you get a 4K camera with no camera bump. It's still available in all 4 colors, and keep in mind, this is brand new. You're not going through eBay or Craigslist or anything like that. You can even get a 128 gigabyte model for really not that much more. So maybe you're just running out of storage on your phone and you want like an external hard drive that supports AirDrop. This would be a great way to do that. You could just buy an SE and offload all your pictures and videos onto that. It's kind of an expensive option, but then you can give it as a birthday gift to a kid or something. I don't know. But I want to know what you guys think. I'm definitely interested in the idea of Apple keeping around the 4-inch iPhone market, even if it was that boxy design that looks like the iPhone 5. Hey, maybe that would do well in matching the new iPad Pros that just came out, as well as the potential of the boxy iPhone design coming out in the 2019 iPhone lineup. Perfect year to refresh the SE. There was a lot of rumors for it last year, but they all ended up getting scrapped. Perhaps the low sales of the current iPhones is making Apple rethink that scrapped idea. Maybe they're like, well, maybe we should keep around the 4-inch iPhone and the more budget options for different countries. I think it would be a great idea. I'm all for bringing back the SE and naming it something appropriate, not iPhone SE 10 for obvious reasons. You've all made the joke already. I'm not going to pretend I thought of that. You guys are sick. Anyway, all that good stuff. Let me know what you're thinking down in the comments below. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see you in the next one.